Bigfoot Collectors Club with Bryce, Michael, and Ivy. I know a story of high strangeness or two. Let's do this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
Oh, he brought his pipe, ladies and gentlemen.
Corncob pipe. No, not corncob. It's like a distinguished sea captain's pipe.
It's a real one.
Yeah.
That's like the pipe that Dennis the Menace's dad would smoke in the old comic strips.
Yeah.
I love that you didn't have that, and then I turned, and then you just did. Yeah, very well done. Well done.
Bryce Johnson, and of course, ultra-terrestrial producer
Riley Bray.
Hello, boys.
Hello.
And welcome back to American history class.
Love this class.
As you were opening, you looked down your glasses at me.
Yeah.
I have my history professor glasses on.
I really was
so
trying
I
to keep
can
it
read.
together.
I can read the script and then look up at you guys over the rim of my glasses.
Yes,
This
but
is
that
what-
look, I was like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. This is one of those classes you don't skip out on. Though. I'm
That's
excited
true.
to be here.
That's true. It's the
Every
cool
time you
professor.
look up, like I'm gonna just have like more and more of a tweed jacket with elbow patches, and then like
Please. I hope so.
khaki pants, and then my just fupa is just gonna get larger and larger as the episode goes along.
I was like, where does he buy
I
those
have not
belts?
heard that in a minute.
Man, I had a teacher in high school who had like a historic fupa, and I would just sometimes sit in class and stare at it and be like, "What? How does this happen?"
Mm-hmm.
You know. And now as I've gotten older, I'm like, "Okay,
This is how it happens.
this is how it happens.
God.
One day at a time.
One day at a time, baby. One history book, one history hangover at a time."
Oh, no.
Well, we have no guests this week because we are diving into the second part and the conclusion to our Jersey Devil deep dive. Before we go there, though, Riley, why don't we nominate a 5-star Club Scout of the Week? That, of course, is a listener who has given us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, which helps get the show to more people.
Well, we nominate Tad Dude. I'm going to do this in my best dude voice. Always intriguing, always entertaining. These dudes and their guests are awesome. I've been listening to every episode since the beginning. They keep getting better and better. Definitely 5 stars.
Nice.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tad.
Tad
Hell
Dude.
yeah, Tad.
Right on, dude.
I had
Right
a friend
on.
named Tad back in the day.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah, it's
you
a
did.
rare name.
Yeah.
I was like, Tad's rad.
Tad is
Was Tad an astronaut?
No, Tad had great hair, though.
You can't be named Tad without great hair.
That's true.
What's the phenomenon where you like name your baby and it predetermines what their job will be? Like if you
Like naming your daughter Candy or something like that.
yeah, and then what does she become?
A doctor.
Stripper. Oh.
Like there's a thing like there's a name for it. It's like part of predeterminism. It's like naming your baby Jeeves and they're like gonna be a butler.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or a failed
Come on,
search
somebody
engine.
Google this for me. I got business to take.
All right,
care
yeah,
of.
even know where to start.
You carry the show. I'll figure that out.
Okay, well, as I prepare to dive in for the second week on the Jersey Devil, I thought to myself, there are a handful of alleged Bigfoot photos out there. And I wanted to know, has anyone ever claimed to have captured the Jersey Devil on camera? Bryce, you're out in the field. You're an official cryptozoologist now. You're a monster hunter. And have you ever come across any in Bryce's secret stash? Are there any Jersey Devil videos?
No, I don't think so. And as a fact, when we started this episode, the image sort of wasn't there for the Jersey Devil. And you know what replaced it was the one with the 3 little claws hanging onto a tree. Not really claws, but like the Dover Demon.
Oh, yeah. The Dover Demon.
I think that's what replaced the image in my mind for what would be the Jersey Devil. But the Jersey Devil is a chimera, obviously. So, no, there's really no known pictures, I don't think, of the Jersey Devil.
Guess what?
What?
I did a little digging and I found some.
No.
wow.
Really?
Now, whether they're real or not, we'll let you guys judge and the listeners. Now, this photo will be up on our Instagram at Bigfoot Collectors Club, and then the video, we'll put a link in the show notes so you can watch it. Yes, there's
video.
Curious.
Wow.
Whoa.
Well, let's kick off the second part of our deep dive into the Jersey Devil with some Jersey Devil related BCC news. Asterisk, not so news. One of the most widespread Jersey Devil stories occurred almost 10 years ago. Back in October of 2015, Kelly Roncace, I'm going to say, Roncace. Anyone want to take a stab at this? Ron Casey? Kelly Ron Casey? Yeah, let's go with Ron Casey. A writer and paranormal investigator at NJ.com received an email in her inbox from Little Egg Harbor Township resident Dave Black. Dave claimed that while driving home from his job as a security officer in Atlantic City, he spotted a four-legged winged creature launching itself into the air. He managed to snap a photo of the entity on his cell phone, which you can see here. And our listeners, like I said, can check out on our Instagram. No. I want you boys to scroll down.
No idea.
Who wants to describe this picture?
Hilarious. In a
Something
word.
I would win for my son at a carnival.
Well, what is it? Give it your best description.
It's an adorable little goat with wings.
Unicorn goat with
Unicorn goat with wings. It's clearly tiny and kind of cute.
Sort of
Flying in
stiff-legged, brown.
In sort of a silhouette-ish.
Does it look like it's in motion?
Flying and
The
it looks like
camera
it's been
looks like it's
tossed.
in motion.
Yeah. Placed, I would say.
It's very whimsical and
I
silly
like it.
looking.
I'm going to bring my computer closer. I don't want to be a.
It's brown. It's clearly taken against a tree line.
It looks like someone tossed something into the air and took a photo.
Oh, I see the goat horns now. Okay, so I see the double goat horns.
You can see the ribbing of the, I don't know what the scientific term is called.
This definitely looks like
for
a
the
goat.
bat wings that are attached to it. You know, could be a taxidermy.
It could be
thing.
placed onto an image by the tree. But I don't know, within the context of the story, that's interesting.
Well,
okay.
Bryce, why don't you play the role of Dave Black as he told this story to Ron Casey?
Yeah, would love to.
So I was just driving past the golf course in Galloway on Route 9 and had to shake my head a few times when I thought I saw a llama.
He wrote his email.
If that wasn't enough, now check this out. It spread out leathery wings and flew off over the golf course.
When Ron Casey asked point blank if the photo was real in a follow-up email, Black responded,
Yes, I swear it's not photoshopped or a staged thing. People have said it's fake, okay, but it's not. I'm honestly just looking for an explanation for what I saw.
Now, that same week, another New Jersey resident, Emily Martin, sent a video into the website claiming she caught a video of the Jersey Devil flying in Leeds Point. Now, you guys remember Leeds Point was the home turf of the Jersey Devil. That is the plantation. That's the little mansion that Daniel Leeds founded in New Jersey outside of Burlington.
Yep.
So this was like the home spot of Daniel Leeds. Emily claimed she was there. She saw something flying. She filmed it. No other explanation was provided. Here's the video, which I'll include in the links in our show notes. Guys, check this out.
That's
same week. This is October 2015. Tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
It's very brief.
Oh yeah, quick. That's a quickie.
Okay.
Jersey Devil or Halloween prank?
Now we're looking at sort of the woods at night, and then a Jersey devilish creature flutters by in front of camera.
Where are you? Oh no!
The Jersey. It's at about 5 seconds. The Jersey Devil is just
It
adorable.
goes by real quick.
Oh, I missed him.
Now watch again.
Okay, I'm going.
Yeah, it's right at the 7 second mark. It looks like a little.
Oh no!
Now there is some movement to this thing.
Oh, I know
It's
what that
flapping.
is.
It's flapping and the body is moving, but
Isn't that
looks.
those toys that you
It
buy.
looks
that
like
do
a
the-
little toy.
like
looks like a
Tinkerbell toys.
There are no
gotta watch that
aerodynamics
again.
involved in the way that is.
What if that's really it though? I mean,
What if the Jersey Devil moves like a child's
That's the whole
toy?
thing, is that it's a
it
silly
wants
little
us
guy.
to think that it's.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's a fun video, though.
Yeah. So in terms of Jersey Devil news stories, this is the latest thing that I could find.
Okay.
This is almost 10 years old.
Wow.
We've got a photo. We've got a video coming in around the same week. Not a lot of explanation given to the video. Guys,
It's so good. Bryce said that's a freeze frame.
that's a great freeze frame,
Beautiful.
buddy. Bullshit or believe it.
I mean, I'll tell you what I believe. Emily Martin is a legend. That is well done. Well done, Emily.
Bryce,
I can't. I'm.
on a,
You know.
on a scale from 1 to Flying Russian Girl,
Yeah.
what do you give this Jersey Devil video?
Well, fuck it. I got to lean into this because now
we go.
we're saying two people saw this and they're both putting forward evidence.
In the same week. Now, do these two people know each other?
Is
don't
it the
know.
same doll?
Are they like, did they
really
get together and decide to pull a Halloween prank as the YouTube video
Because
suggests?
I'm confounded. They seem like earnest individuals to come forward, and it's like, why would they do that and bring forward such sort of ludicrous evidence? It's almost as if this is real
Because
evidence.
almost 10
Because
years
that
later, we're talking about
is
them
a funny
on a
thing
podcast.
to do on the internet.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's
right.
nothing on the Jersey Devil out there, so it
I'm just
literally
trying to
got-
play New Jersey Devil's
no.
advocate.
Yeah, no, I like it.
New Jersey
Yeah.
Devil's Advocate. I love this. Bryce, you would be a brilliant cryptid Devil's Advocate. Like you should be. You are, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
love
don't know. It's well, what I see on this video looks to me like okay, stuffed. I'm getting some stuffed animal vibes just from the legs and the nose and the ear. The
Low-key
flapping,
computer animation,
My
maybe?
first gut instinct was like, oh, I remember these toys. These were early flight toys,
Right.
That like flap their wings really quick and they could like, you'd station them. I know toys.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
like there's a great video that you see on Instagram of a little girl opening up her fairy toy and she
right.
she pulls a ripcord and it flies into the fireplace.
Right. Oh my God. Walker's drone we brought to the fucking park. One button. We trained in our living room. One button just right into a tree so far away. We were in the middle of a park.
Okay.
It's like,
Flew into the only
So how?
trees just immediately.
So we've just proved that these toys are
That
hard to
is
control.
funny.
Yeah.
Maybe furthering that this is the real Jersey.
It is an
Is that
oddity.
I don't know about that.
It does make me. It is an oddity that two people would come forward, and I'm wondering if they know each other.
Suspicious.
So I'm curious about this, but go on. I love this lead story, and it's leading up to me. To me, this New Jersey Devil exists as an occult something. There's
Okay.
something happening.
Okay.
Here.
All right. Riley, where's your head at?
Oh, those are silly, fun videos and photos.
Great. I'm in the
nothing
same
more.
camp as you, just for the record.
But I love them and good job.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to delve into the real history behind the Jersey Devil.
Great.
All right, we're back. And Riley, what's the name of that phenomenon that I was talking about?
It's called nominative determinism.
There you go.
Which
No
literally
way.
means determined by name.
There you go.
Nominative
There you go.
determinism.
Yeah, Tad.
Yeah.
You're gonna have great hair.
That's
You name your
cool.
kid Tad.
And know how to ride a jet ski.
Yep.
Wow.
And also, you're going to maybe be a dentist. You're either a dentist or like a news anchor.
Yeah, but you like went,
Either way, you have great teeth.
definitely great teeth. Maybe
And great
went
hair.
back to dental school after a long sort of rambling period and then realized that was the life that had always called
Yeah,
you.
I like it.
Tad.
Tad's either nodding his head or shaking his going.
Yeah.
These guys are right on her fucking
Hey,
side.
Tad, if you're a Tad,
Oh,
Tad
please
dude,
write to us, Tad.
Tad dude, let us know. What's
Yeah.
your job?
Yeah.
All right.
Carrying on.
In part 1 of The Jersey Devil, we learned about the Quaker Daniel Leeds, a successful almanac publisher and part-time mystic from the colonies who, in the early 18th century, waged political war against his former church, the Society of Friends, for gathering up editions of his seminal esoteric work, The Temple of Wisdom for the Little World, and burning every copy. After Daniel Leeds died, his son Titan continued publishing the Leeds Almanac, but by that point, the Leeds family, whose family crest was adorned with a monstrous cockatrice, was heavily labeled as demonic around New Jersey during a period of time when witches and devils were a hot political topic in the New World. To make matters worse for Titan, he became a target of Benjamin Franklin, who trolled Leeds in the pages of his competing publication, Poor Richard's Almanac. Around the time Titan passed away in 1738, a legend about one Mother Leeds, a witch married to one Captain Leeds, who gave birth to a monstrous flying creature called the Leeds Devil, formed.
Her
Forever
13th
connecting.
child, right?
Huh?
Her 13th,
Her
right?
13th. In some stories, it's her 13th child. In other stories, it's her first child.
Right. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
But this story forever connected the Leeds family to the DNA of New Jersey's most popular cryptid, the Jersey Devil. Now, you took a look at the little temple of wisdom for the little world over there? Because
Yeah.
there is a surviving copy.
Yeah, and it looks. I went to the Internet Archive, and this looks like to be the copy. Thank God they managed to.
Bryce is going to get this tattooed
Get it
on
out
his
there.
back.
Well,
Well,
I'm interested in what's in there, and I'm so glad they were able to save a copy because now you can read it for free on the internet.
One thing that Titan Leeds did in the Leeds Almanac that we didn't mention last episode, and you should look up this image as well. There's a thing called the Zodiac Man, and it kind of looks like a woodcut sort of version of Vitruvian Man,
Oh, I love that.
but with like zodiac symbols pointing to different parts of the bodies, and that would always be published on like the back cover of the almanac.
Should I put Leeds Almanac on that?
Just do Zodiac Man,
I
Leeds
did.
Almanac, but that was one of the things that like the Quakers really didn't like. They didn't like this
Oh
diagram.
yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
very
he's cool.
Greek.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Zodiac Man, he's like a recurring
I love these woodcuts. They're
motif
great, too.
that played out, showed up in pagan culture and in
love
esoteric
this.
culture and astrology over the years. In the
Wow.
conclusion of our deep dive into the Jersey Devil, we'll take
Wait,
a look.
which one are you guys? Scorpion's the penis.
Hell yeah.
Aries
I call
is
it my
the third
little
eye. Ooh,
stinger.
that's me. I'm in that third eye zone. Riley, which one are you?
Oh, Capricorn's the head.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
I'm Libra,
Okay, what is that?
but I'm on the cusp
Libra's
of
the
Scorpio.
scales.
Yeah,
You're the
balance.
guts.
Ooh,
I'm the guts, baby.
All right, we got
you're
it.
the
We're
guts of
good.
this show.
That makes
boy.
sense.
That all makes sense.
All right.
IBS. In the conclusion of our deep dive into the Jersey Devil, we'll take a look at how the story of the monster picks up about a century later and made its way into mass culture. And we'll take a peek at some of the eyewitness accounts of people who believe they've encountered the real Jersey Devil on his stomping grounds, the Pine Barrens. Oil the lamps, polish your beer steins, and belly up to the tavern bar for the Jersey Devil Part 2, The Monster Unleashed.
That was a very good. Previously on the Jersey Devil.
In the century following the death of Titan Leeds, America declared independence from Great Britain and waged the Revolutionary War against the Crown. Spoiler alert, we won. Benjamin Franklin went from almanac troll to founding father, and Daniel Leeds' grandchildren and great-grandchildren moved on with their lives, with each generation moving further away from their patriarch's devilish reputation, as the scandal that once tied to the Leeds name was mostly forgotten or ignored by history, despite the family playing influential roles and rubbing shoulders with giants in the early years of our nation.
Remember to catch up those listeners. Ben Franklin ran them out with his own almanac
That's right.
business. Gobbled
So,
them up.
Here's a fun fact. Daniel Leeds' great-grandson, Jeremiah Leeds, fought in the Revolutionary War, and then he became the first settler in the area that would become Atlantic City.
Whoa.
And
That's
then
cool.
Jeremiah's son, Chalky Leeds,
Great name.
great name, became the first mayor of Atlantic City.
Great.
Hey,
You want to
all
talk
right,
about
Chucky.
nominative determinism
Yes,
right there?
Chalky Leeds.
Chalky Leeds,
You
first
are-
mayor of Atlantic City.
Yes. And you are going to be a mobster.
Yes, you are. My grandpa made the almanac.
Chucky Leeds. They call him the Zodiac.
Nobody calls
Whoa!
me Chucky.
Guys, what if the Zodiac killer is actually a descendant of one of the Leeds, of Daniel Leeds?
You solving the
Conspiracy
cipher
theory, yeah.
in real time.
With a new nation came new lands to explore, and the young USA was rife with rumors of monsters living in the wilderness. Even Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin imagined a West that was teeming with new and confounding creatures. There were also rumors that a race of giants once populated North America, a theory that still prevails in certain corners of cryptozoology today. In 1705, when Daniel Leeds was still alive, a farmer found a large tooth while digging on his property in Claverack, New York. The tooth was then sent to Lord Cornbury. Now, you'll remember Lord Cornbury is the despised governor of New Jersey.
How could we forget?
From the last episode that people like to say was a cross-dresser. Cornbury, the governor, sent the specimen back to England for study. Further digging on the property turned up large bones that some said looked like the skeletal remains of an African elephant. You know what we're talking about here, right, boys?
The mammoth?
That's right.
Sick.
Mammoth bones started turning up around this time in Europe and in the continental United States.
Cool.
And one of the first mammoth skeletons found in the U.S. was in New Jersey,
Wow.
or was in New York.
I didn't know that.
More mammoth bones were found in 1739 in Kentucky and in Newburgh, New York in 1783, adding to the belief that monsters did in fact populate the New World.
Oh, that's
Wow.
cool.
And that
What a time
giants
to
of
be
the
alive.
Old Testament might have once roamed these unexplored lands.
Wow.
And if you'll recall, over on the other side, about 100 years after this, 150 years after this, this idea of the biblical giants and Nephilim
Right.
being a real thing was still popular. That's when the Cardiff giant hoax was created. We talked about this during the history of Bigfoot, where I can't remember the guy's name escapes me, but basically faked a giant skeleton to make fun of and to troll evangelical Christians who were believing that there were actual Bibles from the old or giants in the Old Testament that they were finding out about.
Right, yeah. I mean, to this day, that persists.
I know, it's true.
Yeah.
Then, in the 19th century, fossil evidence of truly mind-blowing monsters began to emerge from the primordial past. Dinosaurs.
Whoa. Wait, I didn't realize it took that long for us to find dinosaur bones.
People didn't fucking know about dinosaurs until the 1800s, guys.
That just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess duh, now that I
And
think about it, but it's
think
crazy.
about that. So
Wow.
if you grew up believing that in the biblical history of the world, and I'm just speaking about one of the major world religions here, but the major world religion that's
one of the dominant ones of the day.
in this area at the time, calling the shots. Like, suddenly finding monster bones is real wild. And I'll talk about, I'll jump ahead to this point. Extinction. The idea of extinction was a relatively new idea in the 19th century.
Whoa.
And mainstream science did not fully... I mean, this is also before Darwinism.
Right.
And so the idea that there might be extinct species that we had never witnessed in our lifetime as humans was a new thought. Wow. So when they were first finding these bones, they were like... Maybe this shit is here.
Yeah, imagination must have went wild.
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like a childlike wonder of this time of history in a way. They're just sort of blissfully unaware of
Yes.
so many things.
Yes.
It's
I
wild.
mean, well, I don't want to go that far, but I'm like, I feel like we generally know more than like the average person knew about the world and science back then by a long shot.
You want to hope. We're trying.
Now
Yeah.
our classical education and the way we write and our penmanship's got a lot worse.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
it's just wild to think. Tenny makes this point on his podcast. Whenever you think about the founding fathers and how smart they were, they didn't know about dinosaurs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That is a crazy connection to draw.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
this idea that there are monsters and they're giants in the ground lends credence to the idea that a Jersey Devil might exist.
Sure, why not?
100%,
Right?
Yeah, fucking
absolutely.
And the monstariums that we talked about that were popular at the time, those were becoming popular because these bones, more and more popular because people are finding these bones and they didn't know what the fuck they were.
Well, and they're probably only finding fragments of these
Yes.
bones, trying to piece together in their
Yes.
mind what
Right.
these animals might look like.
Right,
or,
yeah.
you know.
Yes. The first I'm pulling this out of my ass, but like you can Google it, but the
A
first
dinosaur bone?
Wow.
the first like fully intact mammoth I think wasn't found until the late 1800s, maybe early 1900s in Siberia with like flesh intact. But they had named it a few different things before they finally decided like, okay, this is a extinct species that
Yeah.
we're calling the mammoth.
Man, so much has happened in so little time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's truly wild.
It's crazy. In 1839, fossils of a plesiosaur were discovered in a marine deposit in the English coastal town of Lyme Regis by amateur fossil collector Mary Anning. In 1838, a farmer in Haddonfield, New Jersey, near Burlington, discovered large dinosaur bones didn't know what they were at the time, while trudging a marl pit, which is like a mineral. It's sort of like would form. It was like a clay that would like form into like I had to Google this. I was like, what the fuck is marl?
Okay.
There's some useful thing they found in the ground. Trudging in a marl pit, and he put them on display, not knowing what these bones were. Years later, after dinosaur bones had started being discovered, in 1858, one William Parker Falk, lawyer and amateur fossil collector, would pick up where that farmer had left off 20 years prior and dug up the remaining fossilized remains, which totaled to about 30% of what became the first dinosaur skeleton found in the Americas, just
Killer.
a few miles away from where the Leeds Devil had said to be born.
Do you know what dinosaur it was upon completion?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it might have been an iguanodon, but I'm not sure. But it was only 30% of
Yeah.
the animal.
Right.
The 1850s was also when the Leeds Devil found its way into literature. The earliest known printed article about the Leeds Devil was written by W.F. Mayer, published in 1859 for Atlantic Monthly. Mayer traveled to the New Jersey Pine Barrens to write about the rural people living in squalor among the trees, whom he so lovingly referred to as pine rats.
No.
Pine rats.
Kind of a cool name.
During an interview with an old lady and her son who lived in a hovel out in the forest, the woman, named Hannah Butler, made a reference to the weather being about as stormy as the night I'd seen the Leeds Devil. Before he could ask any follow-up questions about her encounter, old Mrs. Butler was shushed by her son, and the two figures lurched back off into the woods. Mayer's travel guide eventually explained to the author that the woman was referring to a well-known legend from the area about a dragon-like monster who was born in 1735 by a witch named Mother Leeds, who fed upon a strict diet of young women and babies. So here we have probably our first recorded eyewitness account, a woman who claims that she saw the Jersey Devil on a stormy night out in the Pine Barrens back in the 1850s, around then. After Mayer's article is published, the Leeds Devil myth goes quiet for almost 50 years. Then, in January of 1893, a New York Sun article was published about an Erie railroad engineer who reported he wasn't Erie. That's the name of the railroad, the Erie Railroad.
Oh, I was like, ooh,
ERIE.
spooky
I'll
engineer.
take it for 200, please.
But he did have an eerie encounter. The engineer reported a monster who attacked one of his train cars. And he said, "The face was like that of an ape or monkey."
Okay, Applesauce is definitely not a train engineer.
Well, he's playing the part for this.
Oh, well, that's all right.
He's not. When questioned whether or not it could have been an owl, the engineer responded, "Bah! I ain't no owl. That's the Leeds Devil. Back again, sure as you're living."
A face of a monkey
Yeah.
or an ape?
Yes. Ring any bells, Bryce?
Yeah, man, this is getting weirder. That wasn't in the original description,
Nope.
right?
No, it was not.
Do chimeras change shape?
I mean, is it that, or could this be
A Bigfoot sighting?
some kind of Bigfoot
Well,
sighting?
yeah, that's exactly what that is. If the face of an ape or a monkey.
While the same article erroneously stated that the Leeds Devil had originated from the Evesham Woods, not the Pine Barrens, it added a new bit of lore that a religious cleansing of the area had banished the monster for 100 years. Those 100 years were now up,
Ooh, time's
and
up,
the
bitch.
monster was
I'm
back.
back, motherfuckers!
Oh!
That 100 went by like a fucking squeeze.
I look like a monkey now. Get used to it.
Devil hordes.
1905 was a big year for the Leeds Devil. Oh wait, sorry. I'm going to rewind. Few years. In July of 1899, a report published in
I just
St.
love that a cryptid has a big year. This is going to be my year.
We're leading up to
This
it.
is
It
fucking
is.
going to be my year, bro.
You're going to find out.
But
In
laying
Jul-
the foundation. This is it.
You say that every year, Nessie. No, it's my year.
In July of 1899, a report published in the St. Paul, Minneapolis paper, St. Paul, Minnesota paper, thank you, Michael, the St. Paul Globe claimed that 2 men saw the Jersey Devil in the forest, with a headline boasting, "The Leeds Devil returns." A month later, the Akron, Ohio paper, the Akron Daily Democrat, reprinted the story, now with the headline, "Jersey sees the devil," further spreading the legend of the monster to readers all around the area. 1905. Now we're in 1905.
This is it.
Big year. Big year for the Leeds Devil.
bitches.
It all started with mysterious footprints found in the snow in the Pine Barrens. Now, these were not big feet type of prints. These were hoof prints, kind of like the story of the devil who walked in Devon, England.
Those are cloven.
Cloven hoofs. Locals began to whisper about the return of the Leeds Devil. In July of that year, an article in the Trenton Times retold the story about, we all know it well now, a sorceress named Mother Leeds who gave birth to a monster. In this version, written by Almanus Alba, the creature was born in Bordertown, not in Leeds Point, in a house on the northeastern corner of Farnsworth and McKnight's Alley, which, up until recently, had belonged to one Parmelia Jolly, who took ill and died from a mysterious illness no doubt connected to the house's dreadful history. The monster was more monkey-like in this version, as reported by the engineer a few years earlier, and lived, it's probably where he got that detail, and lived with the Leeds family for a few years before flying off into the wilderness. However, as this tale goes, this all occurred not in 1735, but in 1808. So now there's different versions. We're getting the reboot. You know what I mean? This is the reboot of the Leeds Devil.
Right.
Shortly after that article was published, author J. Ephra Watkins wrote his own article on the Pine Barrens, half of which was devoted to snake catchers, and the other half of which was devoted to the legend of the Leeds Devil.
Okay.
In Watkins' version of the tale, the being was much more dragon-like and left Mother Leeds' house immediately after the birth, and the father was not Captain Leeds, but the devil himself.
No.
Of course.
Because, witches cavorted with devils.
Yeah, clearly.
He also included, and may have originated, the bits about Stephen Decatur firing upon the monster, the famous naval captain, with his cannon, and one of the eyewitnesses also being Napoleon's brother, Joseph Bonaparte, who lived in the area at the time. In 1909, more mysterious hoof-like prints were found in this...
Joseph Bonaparte. Sorry.
Back in the
I'm
1700s.
Joseph Bonaparte.
You may know my
You
brother.
may know my brother,
Yes.
Emperor and ruler of France, Napoleon.
In
Bonaparte.
Yes, Joseph, we know.
We got it.
We know, Joseph.
In 1909, more mysterious hoof-like prints were found in the snowy forest around Bordertown, Leeds Point, and Mount Hawley. The Philadelphia Inquirer ran a front-page headline of the story that read, "What is it visits all South Jersey?" And we'll throw up a photo of this headline on the Instagram. You guys can check it out.
It's cool.
Some hoof prints in the snow. Who knows what that is?
I like them.
What is it?
They look
What
like,
is it?
I like them because they're kind of horseshoe-like too.
Yep.
Very horseshoe.
And people actually pointed out to wait, time out. Why would the Jersey Devil have horseshoes?
Don't worry
Right.
about that.
Why? But why?
Don't worry about that.
Maybe Mother Leeds pinned some horseshoes on his hooves.
She didn't have time. It went up the chimney.
Yeah, we'd have
Well, in
raw.
some stories he hung out for a
Wait
while.
before you go outside.
Yeah.
Put your shoes on.
Put your shoes on. In this period, Philadelphia really gets in on the Jersey Devil game way more than actual New Jersey.
Of course they do.
Cartoon images of the Leeds Devil began to spread throughout newspapers in the area. One iconic illustration of the creature, sort of a defining image of the beast, I'm sure you guys have seen this before,
We're getting tats
ran
of this, all
in the
three of us.
Philadelphia Bulletin in 1909.
Down.
It's a very cute. It looks like
It's
if you.
ridiculous.
Michael, your first tattoo.
I mean, I would actually get this done because it looks like illustrations
Conversation started.
Yeah.
from.
Absolutely.
It looks like old illustrations from like the Wizard of Oz, the original Wizard of Oz books.
Yeah.
He looks like an Oz creature. It is a horse-headed. It's got a horse head. It's standing on two legs. It has rounded ears. It has a skinny little body, bat wings, and a skinny forked tail.
Yeah, it looks harmless.
And its legs,
So cute.
its legs are like flamingo legs.
Yes,
like they're
almost, but with
comically
hooves.
small.
Yeah, very cute. I love it.
Yeah.
If you look close at his hooves too, you see like little toes.
He's got like
there.
little shoes on. I guess that explains.
little
Yeah.
shoes,
There you go.
You're right, Riley. He does have little horseshoes.
This guy's great.
I just love that the first sighting was by a woman in a dark, stormy night. It was dark and it was raining.
That was the Jersey Devil. I swear to it.
Now,
Clear as
it wasn't
day.
called the Jersey Devil yet.
The Leeds Devil.
The Leeds Devil.
You gotta
That's
remember-
right.
remember
Thank you.
this
I'm
for the
glad I said
quiz.
that right. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
We're going to find out right now.
That's the Leeds Devil if I ever saw one.
We're going to find out how it got the Jersey Devil nickname.
Oh, all right.
With all of this Leeds Devil news making headlines, a Philadelphia promoter named Norman Jeffries saw an opportunity. He pitched the idea to his bosses at the fledgling 9th and Arch Street Dime Museum in Philadelphia, Charles A. Bradenburr and T.F. Hopkins, that they should display the Leeds Devil in their exhibit and sell tickets for a premium price.
Here we go
There
again.
Now,
you go.
dime museums were kind of like they were like little tourist traps, sideshow exhibits, vaudeville, and weird museums all in one.
Sounds
that,
fun.
That catered to the working class, because during the Industrial Revolution, people started having expendable income for the first time. And so they needed entertainment. And one of the things you could do was go down to a little corner museum that would have sort of like a museum of the weird. There'd be a stage. They would put on shows. They'd have like
A taxidermied Wolverine.
yeah, they'd have
Right.
vaudeville acts. They would have bearded ladies, stuff you might see in a circus, freak show, that kind of stuff.
This is like the original Reddit.
It's actually, it might be the original Reddit. It might also be like the original 4chan. You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
where you're
A little
gonna
seedier,
go
yeah.
see like some weird,
Right.
maybe some dark shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
But somewhere in between. It's definitely like
Can you pick up a Mogwai there?
you probably
If-
could buy
if
a Mogwai.
anywhere.
Yeah, at a dime museum. Now there was only one problem with Jeffrey's plans. They needed a monster. So, taking a cue from hucksters before him who capitalized on hoaxes like the Fiji Mermaid and the Cardiff Giant, Jeffries contacted a taxidermist who didn't make him a fake animal. Nope. He put him in touch with an animal handler and a trainer known as Professor Edwards,
Okay.
who shipped Jeffries a live kangaroo.
Whoa.
I've got whatever you need.
Jeffrey painted. Never trust anyone who calls himself Professor Edwards. Not
Yeah.
even your college professor. Professor Edwards has like the biggest fupa you've ever seen.
You need
well,
a
That's what I
carcass,
named
eh?
my
He's also
fupa.
got a live kangaroo ready to
How many
ship.
pounds?
Ready to go.
How fresh? What size carcass? Come on, I haven't got all day.
Don't ask how he got it. Jeffries painted stripes on the animal, pinned a pair of fake wings on his back, and then hired a local clown who worked with the Ringling Brothers.
Stop.
Oh, come on.
Not kidding. And a few of his other friends to stage a press event to go out into the Pine Barrens and hunt the creature. Yes. Bryce, you're raising your hand. Do you have a question?
Is there any more about the wings that they might have put
Not
on this
much that I
creature?
can. It seemed like though they sewed them on to the creature.
I wonder if they use like feathers on the wings.
I think they
to,
were more like leathery bat wings because
Okay.
that's how they were described.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
I don't know, but I'd
pay to see that.
I do think there was some involuntary body modification happening to this
dear.
kangaroo.
Wow.
All right.
Gnarly.
Yeah, not cool. These guys are not cool.
This would make a great short film. Real,
Yes.
real
Ooh,
arty,
part
real
two of that
dark.
thing
Maybe
going
it's
up
in
the
black
chimney.
and white. You know,
Yeah.
I still
a
want to shoot
clown
that.
hunting that poor
Yeah,
kangaroo.
I don't
Yeah.
think he was. I don't think he was dressed as a clown at the time.
No, but he
I think he was
was.
just sort of like.
It's within
it
him,
helps.
though.
Yes.
You know, he had
Yeah.
clown eyes.
So they all got dressed up. They released the kangaroo into the Pine Barrens.
I hope every listener saw clown like I saw clown.
They
Because the
got-
way it was introduced in the story, I just saw clown.
Yeah, of course you did. I said clown. They got a bunch of guns. They chased the kangaroo around in the Pine Barrens, causing a whole scene to give it the air of authenticity. Locals said they heard screaming and gunshots, and then they came out of the woods with the poor animal alive
Oh no.
in a cage and displayed it for paying crowds. Bryce, you had another question.
I
Start,
did.
guys.
I didn't realize that he had sent them a live kangaroo to be used.
A
as
live kangaroo.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
no,
it
yeah.
so worse.
He paint. Yes,
It's bad. Yeah.
No, it's bad.
very bad.
Yes, no. This is a dark
Extremely
story.
dark story. Yeah.
This is darker than a woman having sex with the devil and giving birth to an
People
actual
are
monster.
always
that's
the
a good time.
monsters.
That's
Yeah,
you know,
people are always the monsters, Bryce.
yeah. People
So
are the monster.
they enacted this whole thing. They put it on stage for paying crowds, and newspapers reported that the real Jersey Devil found. And that's how the Leeds Devil became known nationwide as the Jersey Devil because
Wow.
of these assholes at this dime museum.
Son of a gun.
Do you want to know? Do you guys want to know what the act was?
Yeah.
They would pull back the curtains. The kangaroo would be alive in the cage, and someone would hang out behind the curtain with a prod and poke at the kangaroo, causing it to scream and flop around in the cage, while audiences went, "Ooh!"
Wow.
and laughed at it.
What a bummer.
wow.
Super bummer.
I wonder if, because we've explored the idea that super intense emotional trauma can create sort of energy fields that ripple that could help explain ghost or poltergeist activity. Maybe like animal trauma could too. But I'm saying maybe, I don't know. I just want to like make this.
I like where you're going.
I
with
just
this.
want to make this kangaroo's torture and death mean something, and maybe that helped propel this apparition entity into the fields of the Pine
I mean, you get a
Barrens.
clown chasing a painted kangaroo around the forest. That sounds like an occult ritual to me.
100%.
Yeah.
That could have summoned something because
Yeah.
guess what?
That's awful.
After this, sightings go up.
There you go.
Of course
Okay.
they do. Belief begins.
Fortunately for the kangaroo, the jig was up after not too long.
Good.
Newspaper writers were like, "Hold on a second.
I'm sure that still did not end well for the kangaroo.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I have a theory.
Okay.
I'm gonna impose. So, after collecting thousands of dollars in Jersey Devil ticket sales, Jeffries washed the stripes off the abused animal, detached the wings, unpinned them, and sent it back to Professor Edwards, where, let's pray, it escaped the train on the way and lived a long, happy life with a loving family somewhere between Philadelphia and Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
So to rephrase again, Professor
E.T.
Edwards let them borrow
Yes.
a kangaroo.
Hey, what happened to my kangaroo? What the fuck did you guys do to my kangaroo?
Wow. I'm once again pitching this black and white short film. Professor Edwards is maybe like Christopher Walken.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got
What'd you do with my kangaroo?
yeah, and then,
Kangaroo.
Jeffries is probably
Jeffries would be like, you know what?
Willem Dafoe maybe.
I think Willem
too on the
Dafoe
nose.
is maybe
He's
the
done that
clown that hunts. I think you got to get like a Bradley Cooper. Bradley
yeah,
Cooper's going
there
to
you go.
play
Some weight to it.
Jeffries. Yeah. You know, you got to get like a big name star in there.
I was also like,
Who's stretching a little bit, you know, playing a little bit of a character role.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan Gosling maybe.
I'd love Zach Galifianakis in there too. Maybe
He can play
in
the
posse
kangaroo.
that-
Sure.
as the
Yeah.
Zach
Yeah.
Galifianakis as the kangaroo.
I love it.
This is a great film.
This is great. You should make this movie. The act, while profitable, couldn't save the 9th and Archdime Museum, and Jeffries was labeled a diabolical press agent for authoring the hoax. So they got their just desserts. The museum went out of business.
That's not a bad headline.
Yeah, fuck these guys.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Now, the Jersey Devil lived on, with sightings in the Pine Barrens starting to flood in. Some people said it was bear-like. Others called it a moose with wings or a winged kangaroo. One report specified that it was 3.5 feet tall with a head like a collie dog and a face like a horse. A 1920 report. Guys, they get even better.
That is a ridiculous
Get ready.
creature.
Get ready,
That
guys.
image took a second to
You're
hit,
like, wait, hold on, what?
but it hit good.
A head like a collie
I
dog
wanna
and a
read-
face like a
Hey,
horse.
buddy, hey. I'm
A
waiting.
1920 report said fishermen fought off the Jersey Devil off the coast of New England, who boasted 8 flexible arms like an octopus.
Okay,
This
so
thing is all
just
over the
any
place.
ridiculous creature
Yes.
is the Jersey
Yes.
Devil.
He's like a
basically.
soup. What do you call that? A creepypasta soup
Yep,
crypto.
yep. Monster hunters from Bloomsbury, Pennsylvania, coordinated an effort with local law enforcement from New Jersey to hunt down and kill this real Jersey Devil. Around the same time, a fisherman named Captain George Doughty claimed that a bird-like creature attacked him in his boat off the shore of Brigantine. In August 1919, a woman named Lena Bergeson claimed to have found the Jersey Devil in her chicken coop, attacking her hens. She and a neighbor beat the creature to death with a pitchfork, claiming it had the head of a squirrel, the body of a large dog, and looked like a possum.
Head of a squirrel.
Maybe it's a possum.
Yeah, that could have just been a possum that
Mm.
you beat up with pitchforks and shovels.
More chicken attacks were reported, linking the Jersey Devil's methodology to other cryptids who followed, yet to be popularized, Bigfoot and Chupacabra. We got some livestock attacks here.
Yeah.
One farmer described the creature as having the head of a pig, the eyes of a parrot, and the tail of a squirrel.
Okay.
All over the place,
Eyes
guys.
of a parrot. How do you...
I don't know, but I love it.
Weird choice.
Sightings continued throughout the 20th century. A forest fire in the Pine Barrens in 1959 spurred reports that the charred body of the creature was found, although no reports were ever followed up on, and the body was never produced. In 1960, piercing screams could be heard ringing through the night, terrifying residents of Mays Landing. Despite the police assuring citizens that the Jersey Devil was just a hoax, a circus owner offered a $100,000 reward for capture of the creature. Now, if this sounds familiar, it's because it is. This was happening during the same time a similar craze was happening on the opposite coast. In the Pacific Northwest, hunters were looking for a furry forest monster with legendary roots in both native folklore and stories told by European explorers, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
It was in the 1960s when the legend of the Jersey Devil finally caught the attention of a new growing breed of monster hunters, cryptozoologists. What was once a figure of folklore turned sideshow freak was now being grouped with entities like Sasquatch, the Abominable Snowman, and the Loch Ness Monster. Like Bigfoot, Jersey Devil sightings peaked in the 1960s and 70s, but eyewitnesses still came forward and belief in the creature still remained. One author who was not a cryptozoologist, but I just wanted to pause and talk about real quick, was Henry Charlton Beck. He was a historian and folklorist who really zeroed in on New Jersey and the Pine Barrens and the Leeds Devil, and he wrote a bunch of books about story. He was kind of like the first guy doing like weird New Jersey stuff.
Love it.
And he got a lot of the Daniel Leeds history wrong, and he would misquote people who came before him, but we can kind of credit him. He died in 65, but he wrote a lot about the Jersey Devil in the 20s, 30s, and 40s and into the 50s. So he was one of these guys that helped keep the Jersey Devil name alive to mass audiences through this time.
Interesting.
Now, here are some eyewitness reports that I've compiled in a one-time only segment that I'm calling Jersey Devil in the 80s,
Get
dude.
the fuck out of here.
Might want to switch up the music here, Riley.
No, I'll put a little thing there. Don't worry.
1980. Warden State Forest Chief Ranger Alan McFarland discovered a pack of pigs slaughtered on a farm in Jenkins. The back of their heads were eaten away, and their bodies were shredded by something with claws.
Metal.
Here's the catch. No tracks, no blood.
Oh, really?
No explanation as to what happened to the pigs.
Exsanguination.
Yeah, early
Yeah.
80s exsanguination.
Yes.
Okay.
1981, an anonymous man from Howell Township came face to face with the creature. He claimed that the Jersey Devil was 6 feet tall, covered in fur, had huge feet with 3 toes on each foot, and large teeth.
That's just like a dude with long hair.
That's just a Bigfoot.
yeah. Also that 6 feet tall.
Well, baby Bigfoot or
Right.
female.
Yeah.
1982, the Jersey Devil hockey team takes its name.
Fucking A.
That's right.
Then, in the late 1980s, a bunch of campers were frightened by the creature, as told here by eyewitness Frank T.
In the late 1980s, a couple of my friends and I, we took a camping trip down to the Pine Barrens. I was unaware that we were headed to. Yes, I know what you're thinking. I know.
Are you the nephew of?
I am. Cousin Dickie.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I know him.
Frank T.
He's kind of a legend around here. Anyway, I was unaware that we were headed to the home of the Jersey Devil. We headed out on our bikes and did our share of partying that night. Boy, did we. The next day, while everyone was asleep, the three of us decided to hit the trails a bit earlier than usual. We were about 100 yards away in the woods when my bike stalled out. I looked and found that my friends, their bikes had stalled out also. At first I thought it had something to do with the terrain, or maybe something to do with the nearby power plants 50 feet away from each other, but nah. So we tried to start up our bikes, right? When suddenly, from the woods, we heard the most horrible, piercing scream. This thing sounded inhuman even, like something being tortured. Once back at camp, they asked us if we had heard screams earlier. Pfft, they had heard them too. That's right, they did, only 4 miles away. That's right. Now that night, we headed into the local town because we ran out of booze. But we headed into town no less. And we went into a bar and I ordered a drink, still in shock from what I had heard that morning. Now the bartender asked, "Hey kid, would you see a ghost or something?" Now after I told the story, you know what he did? He smiled and said, "It looks like you met our little friend." He then asked us to come out back. He showed us a tin garbage can that was shredded to bits. I'm not freaking kidding you. This thing was shredded. It looked like the shreds were made from something with tree claws. Now, I've never returned to the Pine Barrens since, and I do not plan to go back.
Wow, Frank.
Wow, Uncle Frankie.
Wow. Also, I'd like to just add that often we riff on these stories, and that is actually pretty much verbatim what Frank T had to say.
Yeah.
Maybe a little spice
A little
thrown
spice,
in.
but
No,
they did go back into town because they ran out of booze.
That's crazy.
That's a Bigfoot encounter, right?
Well,
Could be.
we'll talk
The
about it.
screams.
In 1993, a forest ranger named John Irwin was driving along the Malika River when a massive creature 6 feet tall with horns and matted black fur crossed into the road and blocked his car. According to Irwin, the two just stared at one another for several minutes before the creature slipped back into the forest. So, there you have it. Eyewitness stories, photos, video,
Kind of.
and the history of the Jersey Devil. A creature that went from political insult to folklore to sideshow freak to full-fledged cryptid to hockey team to superstar over the course of 279 years.
Talk about butterfly effect.
What is real? What is fake? Is there a difference anymore?
No.
At this point in my writing, I literally took off my glasses and rubbed my eyes. I don't know. All I can say is that I don't think there's a devil or witchcraft involved in the creation of the Leeds Devil. History, politics, pop culture, and folklore are all the ingredients one needs to create monsters. The problem is, once we've given birth to them, monsters have a tendency to run away only to return to destroy their makers. And to the Jersey Devil, I say, well done, beast. I yield. And there it is.
There you go.
The history of the Jersey Devil.
Wow.
Well, guys, what the hell was that?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I was not expecting your deep dive on the Jersey Devil to give me so much perspective on our knowledge of dinosaurs, the founding fathers, the importance of the printing press. Just,
Well,
I mean, this
Ben
really hit a
Franklin,
lot
the
of
small
notes, Michael.
business eater.
Yeah.
So
Seriously.
a lot of this
Yeah.
research came out of this book, The Secret History of the Jersey Devil, How Quakers, Hucksters, and Benjamin Franklin Created a Monster. And this is by Brian Regal and Frank J. Esposito. And one of the arguments they make is like, the actual history is way more interesting
It really is.
than the
Totally.
legend itself.
Yeah, that was
And
great.
what a fun way to learn American history through cryptozoology.
Yeah.
And I found that, to be true for all of the stories that we've gotten into. You know what I mean? These little snapshots of time and places where these small town monsters really take off, whether they're real or not. And the thing that I struggle with, and I want to hear your thoughts on, what do we do? Because I feel like, what do we do with this? Because I feel like the origin story is pretty clearly man-made,
Right.
but people claim to have seen shit.
Yes, this is what I'm interested in.
So what the hell is that?
Well, to me, this is great evidence for a case to be made that these types of things have a way of taking on a life of their own. Either that or the phenomenon at large, let's just sort of, it has a way of combing through our mind space and pulling out entities that it can use to haunt us, in deep and dark places. But this is great evidence for... This can help explain how you get so many different monsters and creatures, a vast, just cornucopia of different... There can't all be... These creatures be real, but people are experiencing something. You know what I mean? I think your story showed that this is a man-made creature, but I still tend to believe that there are probably more witnesses to this creature than maybe told in your story, and that
Oh, sure.
people are experiencing something maybe profound in the Pine Barrens or supernatural that they're attaching onto, or that is representing itself.
Well, and even the
with
indigenous
horns
people believed in a horned forest god that lived in the Pine Barrens. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe this is some type of elemental energy. Maybe this is some sort of elder god of some kind.
Sure.
Like, maybe this is, or whatever, or manifests itself that way when the user interacts with whatever energy that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also open to the idea that, as kind of goofy as this sounds, that these are all either made up stories, legends, and then hoaxsters in the newspaper stories. But then there might be a fucking Bigfoot out there that people are hearing and because there wasn't a lot of terminology. There was no real terminology for Bigfoot around that time other than wild man. And you already had the Jersey Devil stories out there.
It's interesting.
And a lot of these things are footprints found in snow, weird tracks, piercing screams in the middle of the night, garbage cans being rummaged through.
Sure,
Riley,
yeah.
you even said
Tall,
it. That sounded
furry,
like a Bigfoot story.
really
tall
did,
furry
yeah.
figures. Yeah.
We're even zooming out even further. It's just like whatever this paranormal phenomenon that is a part of the human experience is, it's like it's manifested through all of this sort of mythology and legend and social
Well
construct that's in that region.
Yep.
And so that's the way it filters. But it's, and especially as seeing the passage of time in the story here and how you get into the 1950s and 60s when all the paranormal stuff really started taking off in popular culture, it starts to take this new shape, but it's just like that is the lens for the experience for this region. And it's funny to see the story of how that lens was crafted by just people.
And knowing that they were both becoming, Bigfoot and the Jersey Devil were kind of becoming popular around the same time on opposite coasts.
Yeah.
The thing that's different than the Bigfoot thing, though, is there seems to be sort of like this gathering of different animal parts.
Yeah, the
put on this
chimera
That's a
thing.
big
Squirrel
thing,
face,
the
tail,
chimera,
hooves, legs,
This is-
octopus.
Which I think was a thing in popular culture at the time. This
It's
idea of the
weird.
chimera, because they're finding bones of strange,
Yes,
mysterious
maybe,
creatures and all
Riley,
this
right.
stuff.
Well, and it also reminds me of other small town stories we've heard where it's like, it had the face of an eel and the body of a dog
Yeah.
and like the breath of a dragon.
Yeah.
Like there are these weird chimeras that pop up in small town monster folklore too.
Yeah, well, and Babylonian and Sumerian
Yeah.
history, too. So they exist there.
Also, well, too, because that's laying the foundation for the evolution theory to come out
Right.
after that, too.
Right.
Which is a
right.
sort of interesting sort of thought evolving in time.
It's weird stuff. It's
Yeah.
really fun. I
interesting.
love it. And,
Yeah.
like every other book I read about the historical context of monsters, there still isn't an explanation for what people are seeing out in the woods.
Well,
Right.
You know what I mean? Even if, and I
End
still,
of the day, people are seeing something and
yes,
have been for
and I
years.
tend to
Yeah.
agree. I tend to think more and more that a lot of this stuff there are more hucksters and hoaxers involved, but I still think there's something going on that we can't explain.
Well, and I was going to say maybe there's a germ to the truth of like that 13th birth. Maybe we don't know what they were involved in. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Yeah,
Who
you
knows?
gotta hold on to
Let's
that
leave
dream.
that door just
You
cracked
know what I
open.
mean?
Leave it cracked
Yeah.
open.
I mean, I hope it's that.
Yeah. I mean, well, look.
Because what a bizarre and whimsical world
Don't
we live in.
energies
if
have
it
to balance
is.
themselves out, right? Like this virgin birth of the Christos, the Christ, has brought on untold sort of things upon the earth, and doesn't it also needs it sort of like.
Well, I think
Don't we need the dark one to be born too to sort of
I think
equal out
Bryce.
that power?
I think Bryce
Some
we're
real
open
Anton
to that
LaVey talk
idea.
here. Lay it down, and I'm here for it.
I think we're open to that idea. The problem is, again, if you go back to part 1, that idea of monstrous birth was a popular
Right.
meme and motif. It was told in more than one story, and we don't have a historical record of a Mother Leeds or Captain Leeds. We have this other Leeds family that
Yeah.
were prominent.
Totally.
And we just, but
Just let him
none
leave
of
the
them
door
gave
open.
her.
I
No, I know.
totally
Let him
recapitulated
leave
it
the flume to the chimney open.
I will
you know what
leave
I'm
the
saying?
guys. Leave the flume open for the Jersey Devil. Okay,
great.
I'm not saying we
Just
close
a
the flume.
crack.
Leave the
Great.
chimney open.
It's so funny why we hadn't covered it, and I'm so glad that you did, Michael, in a two-parter, because God, here we've been going for 5 years and we've avoided. He's got to be a top 10 crypto, right?
Exactly.
Psh,
Yeah.
no
absolutely.
wonder. What a confuscated
I always kind of
story.
pictured it like on the side of the turnpike. I had no
Me
idea
too.
the depth of the history. here.
Right, totally.
It's-
New Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's
weird.
wild. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we head over to the Collector's Corner, I want to thank some Club Scouts who have recently joined us over on BCC The Other
Me
Side.
too.
Guys, you want to join in for
Hell
this?
yes,
do
I
it.
do.
Gabrielle Cosmeteer.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Welcome.
Kyle Mimna.
Thank you, Kyle.
Adam Mia, Cosmeteer.
Oh, hey, I know who you are. Thanks, Adam. Welcome.
Daniel Franklin Henry Jr.
Thank you, DFHJ.
Michaela Smith.
Thanks, Michaela.
Danielle.
Thanks, Daniel.
Peyton Moore.
Oh, thanks, Peyton.
Ramona Cosmeteer.
Thank you, Ramona. Welcome.
Andrew Utrecht.
Thanks, Andrew.
Barbara McPherson.
Thanks, Barbara.
Heather Pikes.
Thanks, Heather.
Casey Myers.
Thanks, Casey.
Caleb Anderson Cosmeteer.
Caleb, welcome.
Tori Renee Cosmeteer.
Tori, I know who you are. Welcome.
And Darkonis Cosmeteer, our favorite name of the week.
Darkonus.
Head over to patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub to unlock total access to 3 bonus episodes every month, the BCC Discord, and more. Upgrade to the Cosmeteer membership to unlock 3 music tracks from super producer Riley and ad-free episodes from the
That's
main
right.
feed,
Nice.
like this one. You can get all of that for
As
under
intended.
$10 a month. All right. Let's swing by the Collector's Corner to find out what else we're working on, what we're currently collecting, reading, watching, or simply into. Guys, what do you got? I've been talking a lot. Does anybody want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll jump in there. This might seem old, but I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption,
dude,
with my boy, with my
boy.
This is probably
girl.
This is in the pantheon of BCC video games for sure.
Oh yeah. I fucking love this game. I'm finally there, and it's so great. I'm living my cowboy life.
It's the best. I spent my entire pandemic throwing dynamite at the KKK. It was awesome.
Yeah, good times.
Good use of pandemic time.
Yeah.
I hunting the animals and fishing.
Are you doing the legendary creatures?
Oh, of course, yeah. I like to live the law of a frontiersman. I'll kill who I need to, but I'm out there hunting and fishing and living off the land.
Now, I did a lot of research at the time. There's no Bigfoot in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Disappointing. Yeah.
But if you look closely, you can find, guess what? Giant bones. There's a giant skeleton that you can find out there in the wilderness.
See some giant
I
bones.
will. It's a little secret mission. You can find giant bones.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah. Riley, what are
good
you?
stuff.
What are you collecting these days?
I started working on a new program, Riley's AI guided programming.
Ooh, pray do tell.
It calculates pi, which is an infinite number in real time, and maps the digits to a predetermined scale that the user can check different scales.
Yeah.
So it just plays this little melody based on pi for like forever.
No way.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
How does it? What does it sound like?
It's a very bad melody.
I love that it's just like another thing we've done that makes no money. That has no commercial use whatsoever.
Very Tesla
But
like that.
what a fun thing to make.
Yeah.
I learned about math. I learned about I tried to inventing base 10 scales because the octave is 7 notes, 8 is the octave, but like there's 10 numbers. So I was like, I'll make a scale based on frequencies on a base 10.
Fucking cool.
And then it sounded really bad, and I was like, that doesn't work. So then I tried to map it to normal scales, and it was kind of better, but
yeah,
I don't know. But it's like a fun, weird art thing.
Isn't everything we experience just frequency and waves anyway?
That's what I feel like I'm trying to get.
And
I've
said this before, but like you doing stuff like this kind of gives a voice to what pi is. So it adds a dimension to the thought of pi.
That's kind of like to give like a different experience to it. I also made a program that just maps it from like white to black, like 0 through 9, and then like a grayscale in between, and it just flashes one of those grayscale images.
Maybe on the next Pi Day we'll do a Patreon episode where a Riley Files episode where Riley just talks about pi.
I'm into pi.
I'd love that.
That'd be cool. Why not? Let's fucking do it.
I'll say one thing that's come out of all this AI chat on the show is that a listener messaged me this thing about like I know that a lot of people, there's a lot of pushback about AI and there's a lot of bad things, and it kicked off this really interesting conversation where it's like, to me, it's the human. It's always the human is the monster. You know, it's like it's the corporate behavior, and it's the people's behavior. It's not the technology itself is here and it's happening.
It's just a mirror of us. It's a representation of us. Yeah.
So it kicked off this really interesting conversation. That's why I like talking about this stuff and talking to all you guys.
Me too.
And,
yeah.
I still love that Terrence McKenna quote: "Skin is the technology of our technology is the skin of our species."
Yeah.
In other words,
like
it's us, man. It's an extension of ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of it. It's who we are.
So that, and I started watching Fallout.
Dude, I gotta watch Fallout.
I just watched the first episode last night. I loved it.
Our boy Kyle MacLachlan's in it. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, I know. He's good.
This segues into what I've been watching, what I caught up on over this weekend. X-Men 97.
Ooh, what is that? Is that Singer? Bryan Singer's X-Men?
No.
Oh.
No.
What's... is that... Okay.
The X-Men animated series from the 90s. Okay. Ended its original run. Well, Kevin Feige from Marvel brought back the original series with like half of the original voice cast as an animated series on Disney Plus. It's called X-Men 97. I'm not fucking kidding. It is so much better than it needs to be and should be.
Why?
And it's fucking good. It is so well written, so well animated. for like a 90s throwback cartoon.
Making me want to watch it.
It is so fucking good. Episode 5 of this show had my jaw on the floor, and we were both welling up with tears.
Oh my God.
It is
Wow.
I want to experience TV
Guys,
like that.
Seriously.
What's happening?
It was as good as any great like comic
Were you
book
on
movie.
ketamine?
No, I wish. It was so fucking good. X-Men 97. If you guys are holding
Okay.
out, if you're comic book nerds and you haven't gotten around to
97.
it yet, it is good.
All right, cool.
It's
Wow.
shockingly good.
I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wild and kind of hot. There's some sexy stuff in it too.
Wow. What are you guys collecting? You know, a great way to talk to each other is over on our Patreon because you have access to our Discord, which is part of our Bigfoot community.
That's right.
But we're curious as to what you're collecting as well. Let us know.
Yeah. Speaking of the other side, we're going to head over there right now to talk about another old-timey monster that was making their rounds during the early age of the Jersey Devil in a special companion series to this deep dive, a companion episode, I should say. If we don't see you over there, we'll see you back here next week for an all-new episode of BCC. Until then, good night.
And go get regressed. Yeah!
There it is. The sounds of pie.
I like it. It's like Simon Says.
It's like it is like a children's English cartoon or show. I love it.
I dig it.
Good night, everyone. Good slumber. Dreaming of kindness and joy.
I saw something in the pipe that sounded like pie.
Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray and Michael McMillan and scored and engineered by Riley Bray. Our theme song, Come Alone, is by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. Do us a favor and support the show and unlock 3 bonus episodes every month by becoming a member of our Patreon, BCC The Other Side, which can be found at patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub.